So welcome, and for those of you who are joining us online, welcome. Looking forward to our agenda tonight. We are excited about just hearing from, especially our special guest from Cottage Grove area. So yeah, she came down. So we're really looking forward just to hearing some updates from you all, but welcome. So let's begin with a quick prayer, and there it is. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you so much for this night. We acknowledge you as people who love this world that you've made, and you've stamped your image on your people. Lord, you made us to live and to live abundantly. And Father, one of the things you stamped into our hearts was freedom, and we just thank you for that. We're free to love you. We're free to not love you, actually, too. And Lord, that freedom really does mark us as made in your image. We want to thank you for tonight. Pray that you would bless this evening, and pray that you would set us all free from just the tyranny that seems to be growing. Because as much as we do, we know that you're the one who is sovereign. So we thank you again for tonight. Bless us. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, let's all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Say it loud, people. We need it. Amen. Very much. So this is who we are, Douglas County Citizens Coalition. It's our vision basically is, as stated, it is dedicated to peacefully working together to protect our freedoms by taking intelligent action. I got a chance to sit down with a person who is actually with Dick Hurd today. It was really an interesting conversation. And this part here, that we are peacefully working together to protect our freedoms as a group, the Douglas County Citizens Coalition. And we all know that our freedoms were given to us by God. We didn't need someone to give them to us in the first place. They are ours. Now, public officials and people that are in those offices, their job is actually to defend them and to protect them. And they don't give us our freedoms. They don't hand them to us. We don't say thank you when we get them, right? We just tell them they're doing a good job when they protect them. But anyway, we are a group trying to protect our freedoms by taking intelligent action, offering real solutions to those in power in case they need our help, and standing with each other when needed, and using the Constitution and as its supporting laws as our indisputable platform. So I love how this is just rich with us working together. And so it really does set a tone that we like to keep in this group, that while we might be urged to do some rebel rousing, really unity and love for one another and working together. And we like it when people play nice with each other. But without question, we stand for the visions of freedoms based in our Constitution. That's why we're pro anybody. We're not necessarily pro any particular party, but there just so happens to be one that does a better job at protecting freedoms. But we're not a political group. We're a people group. We're a people group. And we're here to just let people know, those people that want to stand up for freedoms, that we'll stand up for you, and we will be your backing. People who want courage to stand up against the dark forces, they need to know that the citizens of Douglas County stand behind them. And that's the bigger the group that we can get, the better. Because then it'll give those people who stand in those positions of power that want to stand up, it'll give them more courage to stand up, right? So that's who we are. We stand with each other, and we offer real solutions to those in power and so on. So we do use Telegram as our primary communication. So get on Telegram, and the best way is to get invited to our group. It's called Douglas County Citizens Coalition. And we really do make it hard for you to get connected to it because it requires some vetting. And we had to do a lot of cleaning of some roles and making sure people are playing nice with each other on that platform, because really freedom is the unifier, even if you disagree with each other. We're all free. So anyway, that's one thing. So Douglas County Citizens Coalition. But that's really our we want you to play nice with each other, and we do have a way if you want to donate by buying T-shirts. There's a website. And what is that website again? I can't remember. It's DC Citizens Coalition.com? DCCitizens.com. .org. Thank you, DC Citizens. And the buying of T-shirts, it's not exorbitant, but that there are a few menial things. Like, we don't actually exist as a 501c3. You can't get a tax-deductible donation but giving us anything. So really, if you give something, it's just from the bottom of your heart. And we just say thank you. And basically, we don't even have a bank account. So it's not like we can have you write a check to DCCC and we can cash it anywhere. It doesn't work that way. We are purely a citizens group. And when we have financial needs or campaigns, we'll ask people. But that's just letting you know you can't always buy a T-shirt. We have open books too, and trust me, those books have seen what, $300 or $400 go through it, maybe. No, maybe $500 or $600. We've bought some printers and a few papers. We bought stamps to like send letters out and things like that. So, but really, we're not talking about very much. But in case people want to know, you can come and ask. So, all right. Anything else from me, or are we turning it over to Sylvia? Okay.
Hello and good evening. Couple things on the agenda for me tonight. If you have all heard and been following in the Telegram for DCCC, there's a new curriculum coming down the pipeline. I don't know all the details offhand, but we have a preview of it on the front desk. It's the colorful pages you can go look at. We do just have one copy, so just share. It's not fun. It's, what did it say? There's, it's not exactly about the CRT, it's about sexual education. And so they start with the kindergartner program and they go on through the grades, and they're teaching gender identities and gender roles and all such things. And so what did we all want to do? Get up, uproar, and go yell at the school district. But the school district can't do anything about it, because it's being handed to them by the Oregon Department of Education. So either we need to write the ODE, or we have to take it back to legislation, really, unfortunately. Because of the noise that we've made about it, the Sheila, what's her name again? At the Roseburg District Schools? Michelle Nee, what's her role? Okay, Assistant Superintendent Michelle Nee made it available so that this Tuesday, the 26th, and Thursday, the 28th, between 3 and 5 o'clock p.m., you can stop by the district office, which is next to Staples. Is that right? And preview the curriculum. I'm not sure if it's exactly what we have, similar or same, but from what I understand, we have something you can go look at on the front counter. It's really only to preview the curriculum. I think there's going to be a comments page out where you can leave comments, but it's not going to be helpful to take it out on the school staff or the administrators who are there, just making it available for you to preview, and this goes for everyone at home. You're going to have to write the Department of Education, unfortunately, or pull your kids out of school, put them in a homeschool group, or what Clay is always voting for, which is school vouchers, meaning we can all do what we want with our schooling money. Another thing is the Exposing CRT. It's a workshop event, I believe, and that's taking place at the Garden Valley Church on May 13th and 14th. That's also posted in the main chat if you need more information. Otherwise, it's May 13th at 6:30 p.m. It runs until 8. May 14th at 9 o'clock a.m. runs until 12:30. And that's someone who's going to walk you through what the agenda is with CRT and how it's going and getting into the schools and going through legislation. And I guess if you want to know more, you'll have to show up. Then we have party affiliation. So I think if anyone could remind me, so I know that you need to check your party affiliation and you have to register by April 26th, but the window already closed for the primaries though, right? No, okay. So make sure you get on that website. I don't know if we have that available, Jeff, but it's the Secretary of State for Oregon website. You want to go to, and that's, what's her name again? Shmaya Fagan, yeah. So you want to go to Shmaya Fagan's website, and you can search your own information right there, name and birth date, and make sure you're affiliated. If you registered to vote at the DMV, you become a non-affiliate. And that's all I have for now. Be sure to take a look at the curriculum up front. And Cherie, come on up. Sure. And here's Clay for just a moment.
One of the things that I did find out is we have now we're going to have a health-based clinic available through Evergreen at the high school. And if you go in and read how the standards are, is at 14 years old, a child without parental permission can start working with a counselor. And at the end of a year, having seen that counselor on a treatment plan, can then begin under OHP transitioning using whatever treatments are available. All of this without parental knowledge. Read the words very carefully. We've posted that. Where'd she go? Oh, I was a professional therapist. I worked for Douglas County, and I was embedded in the schools. I got very familiar with kids' rights and such. Yeah.
So, I don't know if you're aware, but they're putting these clinics in and around all the schools. They're called school-based. So we're working in Lane County, fighting one next to our school. Lebanon is also fought and put off theirs next to their high school. And Fern Ridge has had one of the same ones on there. So it's just interesting to see. They're calling them different things, but it's interesting to hear that. I'd like to know more about what they're doing there.
This is done in conjunction with a group called Basic Rights, and it is an activist group for the LGBT movement. They're very overt about it. They've been doing it for quite a while, and they're now working with the Oregon Health to get this protocol that they've put together instituted. So apparently it's happening. It's everywhere. So this is what the public schools are now turning into. And anyway.
Thank you very much. So I think almost everybody here knows me. My name is Cherie Brady. I'm the secretary for the Douglas County GOP, and I'm also the PCP coordinator. And I don't remember exactly what they have me on the schedule talking about, but I wanted to talk about the primary election coming up. The deadline to check your voter registration is April 26th. So everybody should check it, even if you're confident that you're registered. Please just double check. About 30% of the people that we checked last time at SHRMS were surprised to find they were not affiliated. So even if they were sure they were Republican or even Democrat. So please just double check. You can have this flyer and also share it if you'd like. If you would like to be an observer for the upcoming election for the Republican Party, you can sign up to do that. I have a physical sign up here. There's opportunities that range over like 40 days. So we have 5 specific dates, but we're also going to be offering a Zoom info session with Dan Loomis next Thursday at 6 p.m. So this is going to be in the back of the building. I can leave it here, and then somebody can give it to me. But if you have questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And there's also a PDF letter from Dan Loomis that I included in my most recent newsletter. I think that's been shared probably to the Telegram page. But I can leave this here if they wanted to copy it and hand out copies. You're welcome to have that as well. And I'm not sure what else I was supposed to talk about tonight.
It might be that some of these people would have their church register people. This is the last Sunday.
Oh, thank you for telling me. So this is the last Sunday, and I have a poster that I made. It's an 11 by 17 poster. If you'd like to take it to your church tomorrow and they wanted to put it up for display, people can check their registration that way. You can also take the flyers. This Sunday is the last day. And if you are interested in being a PCP, if you're interested in voting for the board for the Douglas County GOP in the next election, which I think anyone that wants to have the Constitution strongly supported in Douglas County should have a strong interest in the Douglas County GOP, because I think they have a big influence in that. Not just in our county, but really what we can do in the Douglas County GOP will affect our entire state. And so my hope, our number one goal and mission at the GOP is to support the Constitution of the United States. So my heart and hope is that we get as many coalition members as possible to become elected PCPs so that we can take that energy, what you're doing here, and bring it into the GOP. So the deadline to file to run as a candidate is the day of the election at 8 p.m. You can do that online. It's the SEL 105D, where you declare yourself a write-in candidate. You need 3 people to vote for you, and they need to be in the precinct that you live. So you can just talk to your neighbors and let them know that you're running. If they get a ballot and see you on there and they know you, then it's very easy to be elected. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. And does anyone have any questions now? Oh, and there's the paper form on the counter as well if you want to just fill it out and turn it into the county clerk. But we really need about 50 PCPs. So that would be a great addition from this group. No, we need possibly, I think we have around 350. So we have room for around 125 more that can be elected, but we need 50 strong constitutional citizens to be precinct committee people. So.
With some of the precincts that have 0 people, does the party have the ability to assign PCPs to represent those people, or is it you have to be in the district next to them? Because, I mean, I was just looking over the rolls, and there are several of them that don't have any PCPs whatsoever.
Yeah, we currently have precincts that are underrepresented, so you can represent the precinct you live in or an adjacent precinct, and that can be kind of confusing, but if you have any questions, the county clerk can help you figure out which precinct you would represent, or you can just call me. So, but yes, you don't have to, you can represent a precinct you reside next to, so.
But you couldn't just represent like somebody on the coast or whatever.
You have to live in the precinct you reside in or an adjacent precinct.
So I would encourage people that, I haven't lived here long enough to know a lot of people, but if you know people in the county, especially ones that live outside of our area, and that they are good patriots and constitutionalists, encourage them to run for PCP, because there are openings out there and we need those people. So they might not
Yes.
be at this meeting, but reach out to whoever you know.
And you can also find information at douglascounty.gop. There's a PCP resources page there as well, so.
Oh, I got a couple questions. No, just, one is, are these, huh?
Sure, you just go ahead and repeat the question.
Okay, are the roles that you're talking about here in regard to, observers that Dan Loomis is willing to bring in? Are those the same positions as the paid positions that, they're not? So these are not paid positions?
So his question is, the election observer volunteer opportunity that I'm describing, is that the same thing as the previously advertised paid election worker thing? And that's different. So there are paid election workers, and then there are election observers that represent the political party. So we will be sending 2 people per shift. We can have two observers at once to represent the Douglas County Republican Central Committee. So I'm splitting some of those longer shifts so that more people have a chance to volunteer. There's also tours that are going to be available. So please do, if you are a PCP, feel free to forward the email, but the PDF, you should look at it because it has more information on there, but you can actually contact me if you want to sign up for a tour. So
the roles, or the group of people that I saw were being hired, is that shut off now, the applications for that?
So the question was, are they still hiring for election workers? And I don't have the answer to that. That would be a question for Dan Loomis, but I can find out and share the info to the Telegram feed. Yeah.
I actually applied for that, and I went through the interview process, and I had to fill out something, so they're looking at my driving record and my criminal record, so I haven't gotten the final thing. It sounds like it's pretty good, but they actually only have maybe 2 to 3 openings every election, but they're looking ahead because they get so many people that come back to help out. So there's not that many positions available actually for that. But he did tell me that I am not qualified to work this election because I'm on the ballot because I'm running as a PCP. But he's already talking to me about working in November.
So that's good information to know. She said that if you're on the ballot as a PCP, then that would disqualify you to be an election, a paid election worker. So I don't believe it disqualifies you to be an election observer, but I will clarify that.
I got one more question. You said that we need like 50 more people to fill the PCP slots. What does that really mean? I mean,
So when I say we need 50 strong, constitutional conservatives to fill those spots, that means that if we have around 50 more, then by my judgment, we have a majority of constitutionally very strong America First PCPs. So when I'm recruiting PCPs, I'm kind of recruiting America First PCPs. And so PCPs that are going to look at the ORP platform as it aligns with the United States Constitution, and I believe it does very well, and that they're going to commit to supporting that. So that is the number one priority. But and we want to have a majority in the Central Committee. So that's what I mean by that. We have about 350, and I would love to see a majority of those members be strong America First Precinct Committee people.
I read that in Multnomah County, you have to have the jab.
To be an election worker? So the statement was that she heard that you have to be vaccinated in order to qualify to be an election worker in Multnomah County. I don't know what Douglas County guidelines are for that, I would imagine.
Ask me at all.
Okay, so Kathy said she wasn't asked about her vaccination status at all. And so that would be a good question to send directly to one of our county commissioners or Dan Loomis, and I can find out and post the information on the feed. So did everybody hear that? Douglas County doesn't require vaccination for any employees. Any other questions?
Yeah, just real quick, just back to what you were saying earlier about needing 50, and I don't know if I want you to elaborate, but I can see underneath your very nice kind of trying to be politically even, just saying we need 50 more constitutional ones. Is there a concern because of the, let's say, 300 or so that we currently have, that we aren't going to go in the right direction? And I know this is just your opinion.
No, I wouldn't say that, because the PCPs that I've met are good people. There's a variety of different beliefs in the Republican Party and a variety of different strong suits of people who are willing to strongly stand up for the Constitution. So when I think about members of the coalition being PCPs, I consider them to be our strongest constitutional supporters. From my experience with the current PCPs and the coalition members that I've worked with so far. So,
I see what you're saying.
yeah. Yeah. There's around 350 possible PCP spots. So, yeah, I think we're at around 185, which right now we're probably closer to just over 200. So, but we still have a long ways to go, and yeah. I think I have that. I'll have to post it on the feed. Yeah, because we do have some precincts, but I don't have that right in front of me to see which ones have no. But you can actually go to the Douglas County Clerk if you want to find out before I can find the information. They have the PCP filings in a binder. You can actually look through and look at each precinct to see who's filed. And you can see which precincts don't have anybody in there, and that would answer that as well. But
That would be fantastic. I appreciate you asking that question because as an intelligent action for this group, I bet if we saw either a map of all the areas that don't have representation, that just through the simple networking of the people here, we could probably find some people
okay.
and directly be able to handpick people. If we were to see where
Yeah.
our needs were.
I think I have the in my binder in the car. So when I get a chance, I'll get it, and I will make sure to give it to you before I leave. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully I have it in my binder. If not, I will email it or post it in the feed.
But the roll is online, the PCP roll.
You can find a list of the precincts and how many PCPs are in each precinct, but I don't believe what's online is current. So I have the most current information as received from the county clerk. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. Moms for Liberty. Way to go, Todd. It's been an exciting week. I have already talked to a gal from Florida last week when I kind of talked to him, and I sent an email in and had some questions about just things on their website. And, you know, her name was Amy. And she said they're really, really busy right now. They've actually had to hire more people because of the amount of people that are wanting to come on board with them and to do all these interviews. I had to call her, or I messaged her earlier because I was trying to do the questionnaire for the chapter chair, and I couldn't find it on their website. And I finally messaged her and said, hey, can you help me out? You know, and I was just expecting her to message me back. Boom, like literally 15 seconds. I was like, because she's in Florida. It was like, and it was 6 o'clock. I was like needing to get in the car and come here. And I'm like, oh, okay. Really cool people. If she is any inkling of what their whole group is, this is awesome because, you know, Johnny on the spot to call me, you know, Oregon, and I don't know what she's doing. She was probably past dinner, maybe getting, you know, things ready for the evening, settle down. But before I go on, I just wanted to kind of just read to you guys. I don't think we talked about what the mission statement was. So I was just going to give a quick little overview. Their mission statement says, Moms for Liberty is dedicated to fighting for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. It says, what do? We hold decision makers accountable, or we work to replace them with liberty-minded individuals. We spread awareness and an understanding of the limited role of government. We stand together against government overreach and intimidation tactics. We promote teaching the principles of liberty in our homes and community. We engage our communities and elected leaders on key issues impacting our families. We activate liberty-minded leaders to serve in elected positions. So just wanted to kind of give you guys the overview of that. Update is we now have 16 volunteers signed up. So that's awesome because we needed 10 to get this off the ground. So thanks, Doug Mendenhall, wherever you are, because I think he lit the fire and my phone was going off. And in the back, there's 2 sign-up sheets. There was one from our last meeting, and then I had started handwriting one when people were emailing me. So just look on there. If your name's not on there, put it on there. If it's on there, maybe your phone number's not on it, or your email, because there's a couple that I couldn't get the email on. I think Loretta might have been one of them, but somebody can help me out there. Anyway, I'm going to just read off my notes here. So we turned the chapter application in at 6:03. I talked to Amy, and since I've now talked to her twice, I don't actually have to wait to get an appointment, and it wasn't even going to be till next Friday. It was their next opening to do. You do like a interview on the phone. Since I've talked to her twice, and now she knows who we are, she's going to probably talk to me on Monday, and we'll really get the ball rolling, and we'll have our first meeting. So I'll be emailing you guys like on a group email, or I don't know if everybody that has a phone number takes text or not, but probably we'll just do email for safety at first. Get together and just kind of talk about the positions, because you have to form like an executive board, and then you have people underneath that. So we'll be excited to get that going. There's info packets too on the back. I think I printed off 10 of them if you want to take one home with you or give some out to friends that you're trying to spread the word out to. You know, because this is not just for like Roseburg School District, it's all the school districts in Douglas County. So we'll have a coordinator for every single school district. And then they will report back when we have like our board meetings of what's going on, what needs to be attended to, what do we need to dive into. So pretty exciting. Also,
on their website, they have a resource tab. And, I just invite you guys just to go to it, even if you're not wanting to be a member, but they have some good resources there. One of them that I printed off actually is called, it's Parents' Rights and Education. Some of you may have heard about them too. And it is a Introduction to Comprehensive Sex Education. Okay, so this has to do with Oregon law and rules. I'm going to leave this in the back, but you guys can look over it, and then you can go to their website. Actually, go to the Deschutes County. That's where I found it. So the only other chapter in Oregon is Deschutes. We would be the second county in Oregon when we get this going. So I went to the Deschutes County. So when you go to the Moms for Liberty, it shows a big United States map, and it shows in yellow the only county in Oregon. You click on it, it'll take you to Deschutes, then go to the resources, because theirs is the only one that has the Oregon laws on it. You won't find it in the nationwide one, but anyway, I'm just saying there's good resources, kind of enlightens you to what the laws are about teaching sexual education to our kids, that you can opt out. You can view the information just like what we're talking about for Roseburg right now. Number 2 is Stan Pulliam. Okay, so I got on Mom's list and was watching some talk go down about, I think it was the Sutherland curriculum that's going on. And I just kind of joined in, talked to some people, and this gal reached out to me that said a consultant from Stan Pulliam's group is looking for people, or moms or dads, it doesn't matter, to be interviewed to talk about what's going on in their school districts, what's the topics, what's the hot things going on that people are struggling with. She was asked to do it, but she says, I'm not a really good speaker, but if you'd like to. So I just, out of curiosity, I messaged the consultant, and he got back with me. And anyway, so we're on for May 1st. On Sunday, there's going to be a gal from Happy Valley, which I believe is kind of near up there by Portland. I think it's one of the out in the country. And then a dad from Tigard and a dad from Hillsborough, I believe. So there's going to be 4 of us. They're going to just kind of interview you. Stan's supposed to be on it, interviewing us, and just kind of talking about all the problems that are going on that are affecting everybody. And I don't know, it's not promoting him. It's just he wants to get on board and wants to know what's affecting everybody in Oregon. So we're kind of like the only Southern Oregon, sounds like, interview person that's going to be on with him. But no, it's a different type, but it's like Zoom. So what they'll do is they'll record it first, and then they'll edit it, and they'll put it on, he said, the next day, like on the 2nd. So I'm assuming he's got his own social media. I think kind of like Mark Thielman has his own Telegram channel. I think it was on the other night. So I don't know what his is. I don't know if I'll find out more information next week and I can pass it on. Anyway, the other thing, Patriot Christian School. The gal that kind of got me hooked up with that Stan Pulliam campaign consultant, their talk going back and forth was that they got a hold of New Hope Church in Sutherland, and that pastor has offered their church to start up a co-op. So they're trying to get parents to join in, and there'd be a parent-led, kind of like Foundations Fellowship Uptown type of thing. So it's called Patriot Christian School. They have their own Facebook page. So if you know anybody that's in Sutherland that's wanting to pull their kids out or look for something different for their kids' education, try to find them on Facebook. If you can't, get a hold of me, and I can try to find it. And the last thing, I covered it. It's this packet right here. And the other thing I want to tell you about this packet that is the Parents' Rights in Education, it talks about your school district, and I underlined it here. It says Oregon school districts have local control and can reject ODE's version of human sexuality education and craft their own policies, select curricula, and design instruction which best fits their community values and best serves their students' health, safety, and well-being. They also have curriculum adoption committees. I don't know if a lot of you guys know that, but these school boards are supposed to allow advisory committees of all different subjects. Doesn't even have to be on sexual education.
How does that even happen when in Salem, they voted that the superintendent is above the school board? So, I mean, if the school board has
It depends on what school board. So, and I can't really say what. It does, but it depends on the school board not letting the superintendent override them either, so. Mhm. But anyway, I'm just letting you guys know that this information, because I've got to get on and let our speaker, is it Kathy?
Yeah. So I want to clarify then, if that is the case, then there is a point to getting out of the school district. Because the school district can change.
You have to find out who's on the adoption. So there's like an adoption committee, and then there's a curriculum committee. Yeah, so there's two different committees there. So there's school board members on that. I saw it on, I think it was the GOP site that was listed today, but. That's what this packet is trying to tell you. Go on there and read it so that you know what the laws are, and you can get some ideas from this group right here, trying to tell you what your rights are. So. Okay. Is it Elaine? And you are on my list too. I just didn't get your email.
Oh, that's okay. All right. My name's Elaine Lavington, and I am the events coordinator for the Douglas County Central Committee. And we had our first in-person county commissioner forum last Saturday. And Randy Stone was one of our participants, and she did an awesome job. And she's running against Tim Freeman, the incumbent, and Valen Curry. For the other commissioners that attended were Marcus Black. He's running against Tom Kress. Tom Kress had an excuse not to be there. He had family from Canada, so his grandkids were here in town, so he had an excuse. Chris Boyce, however, he's an incumbent. He RSVP'd, and he was a no-show. And so that's I thought it was kind of rude that he didn't show up. But Ashley Hicks attended, Mike Ruel, Deuce Dave Bone, and he attended, and his wife was in the hospital. So, if he can make it, Chris Boyce could have made it as well. And then Bev Ashton. So if y'all missed last Saturday's forum, there's going to be another one on Tuesday, April the 26th. It's sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Umpqua Valley. And it's going to be at 7 p.m. at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. And so if you can attend that, it would be greatly appreciated, because that's how you're going to pick your commissioners, because we have some that need to be taken out of office. And then also, if you can't make that event, there's going to be another one on May the 6th at Backside Brewery at 6 p.m. And I heard that's sponsored by who again, Brandy? Okay, Geneva Academy is sponsoring that one. And any questions about the county commissioner forums? Excuse me? May the 6th at Backside Brewery. Yes, that's correct. At 6 o'clock. Any other questions? And I have to say, Michaela Hammerson was our MC, and she did an awesome job. Her husband Steve's right back there, though. Okay.
Thank you, Elaine. Next, we have Johanna Z. And Johanna has come down from Cottage Grove to see us today. And while we appreciate her making the trip, we also have a little donation jar up front to help cover her extended gas costs coming down to our South County. Coming up, Johanna. Johanna is author of It's None of Your Business. 7 Ways to Start a PMA. Is that right? 7 Steps to Your PMA.
I like the number 7, so I had to make it fit in that number 7 there. So yeah, I love that. It's like, because that's what it is. It's none of your business. So a little bit about me is, well, here's the thing. It's like my whole history doesn't really matter anymore, because the past 2 years, we've all done a lot of things that we've never done before, right? I mean, how many of us are really a different person today than we were 2 years ago? Oh, sorry. I'm like, what are you guys doing there with your hands? You guys are weird, But But anyway, so I was a registered nurse. I'm from New York, a registered nurse. I am a doctor of natural hygiene. That's the science of self-healing. So I've got an extensive background in human and animal medicine, conventional and alternative. I've also been the director of nonprofits. I've been a consultant, a speaker, writer. And one of the things why I did this, people have asked me, oh, do you have your own PMA? So how do you know how to do this? But I had a friend who's a therapist, and she just started freaking out, and saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my license. What do I do? And I'd been hearing about these PMAs, and it didn't affect me because I always like to work under the radar, if you know what I mean. I don't like to follow anybody else's rules, but I follow my own rules. And I said, well, it can't be that hard. So we're looking at different organizations or businesses that create your PMA, and I started looking, and one was like $2,000, and I said, well, just go with that one. That sounds good, And she said, oh, but I'm really nervous. And then there was another one that said $10,000, and you get a lifetime full of support to create your PMA. And I said, oh, okay, you're really scared, so you must need this. You must need all of this support. So she's trying to figure out how she can pay for this and do this. And then all of a sudden I realized, what am I doing? I'm thinking, I'm trying to fit into this box, and there's got to be another way. So I did what most of us have probably done, is I did the deep dive, right? You all know what that is, okay? So I said, what is this all about? I mean, I've written up articles of association. I've written up things for 501c3s. I was in animal rescue and all that. And I've done a lot of paperwork, and I can write. So I just started watching and learning and absorbing everything that I possibly could about the subject, because I wanted to help people. I wanted to create tools for freedom. I didn't think that freedom should cost a heck of a lot of money, and it didn't make sense. So that's why I wrote the book. It's None of Your Business, 7 Steps to Your PMA. Has anybody here actually read it? Ah, great. Okay, well, so just to say where we are, here. It's a step-by-step guide, and I've written a lot of training manuals and things like that. So I just took this concept of a private membership association, and I just broke it down into an easy-to-follow, step-by-step guide with some really cool pictures. If it's up there, that's a picture of me. If you can't tell, I'm not wearing my boots, but I told him, I said, give me big hair, because I always wanted big hair, So I didn't want to write the documents for people. I didn't want to create that business for people. And I was hearing a lot of complaints from people who had hired these other businesses to write up the paperwork for them. And if you do read the book, it's $9.95 on my website. I wanted to make it really simple and easy, and with a lot of links. It's kind of a, a PMA 101. So it's a way to get started and feel empowered, and I've gotten a lot of people to actually write their own at this point. And then I'm the support person, and I work by donations, and it's been pretty exciting, actually. I've helped people who've had their PMA written up by someone else, and we've rewritten it and made things consistent. And I said, oh, it doesn't need to be this complicated, because it's not paperwork that you have to file anywhere. It's not. We're all kind of waking up, right? It's like, wait a minute, what happened here? I'm a free being. I'm a human, sovereign, independent human being. Why do I need permission to do anything? But they started us really young, right? Right? Kindergarten teacher, may I please go to the bathroom? And then it's Simon Says, right? Do this, do this, do this. And you notice how Simon Says and CDC Says kind of sounds the same, right? So who knows if they planned it way back when? I don't know, but I don't want to be paranoid or anything. But it's that indoctrination. Think about everything that we do, and it's out of fear. And when you say, why am I, even crossing the street and waiting for the hand signal to go, just for the fun of it, and be safe, please. Go when it has the hand up, right? And tells you not to go. And just please be safe, and don't tell them Johanna told me to do it. Because but break the rules. I did a podcast called Conscious Activism Now because I was really upset about all the polarizing and the anger and everything. It's I wanted people to go, and again, I think there's probably 7 steps to that, but I don't know. It was how to be a conscious activism, and we start with curiosity. It's like, okay, what are other people thinking about this? It's connecting with other people. So that's what PMAs is actually about. One of the groups that I was working with, they came to me after writing their thing, and they wanted me to fix one of their problems with a neighbor. And the neighbor was complaining that they were having dance classes and it was too loud. And I said, did you go talk to them? They said, no. I said, well, yeah, but we put up signs that said we're a PMA and you can't mess with us, we're within our legal right to do this. And I'm like, did you go talk to them? Just go talk to them. Because under a PMA, you have a contract. And the Constitution allows us, and case law allows us, to have contracts with each other. And nobody can mess with that, right? The power of the contract is unlimited. Just like if you read your Bill of Rights, I don't know if you guys hand out the pocket Constitution, it's an amazing thing. And that was one thing I did for this, is I actually read the Constitution for the first time in my life. And then there's the Federalist Papers. And then, oh my gosh, it just doesn't stop. There's so many things. But as I was doing that, as I was learning that and reading the Constitution, I'm just like, oh man, I don't have to have a piece of paper to tell me I'm free. This is like inherent in being a human being. Does a bird ask for permission to fly from tree to tree? And look at what they've been doing to us. Cover our face, right? That's that's the our First Amendment, rights. And then stand here, stand there, go here, go there. Nobody asks, in nature to do that, and we are natural beings. And this is our God-given right. This is our right as a human being to be free. But we've been so indoctrinated to follow the rules. And that's why I don't write it for people, because I want you to be involved in the process. It's not that hard. I actually give you templates. So does everybody know what a private membership association is? Oh, man, I should have started. Oh, man, just do it. Just raise your hand. Just say, what the heck are you talking about? It's like BLM. It's like, no, not that BLM. It's Bureau of Land Management, right? No. So we have to be careful with our acronyms, Private Membership Association has been around for a very long time. Do you know the Bar Association is a private membership association? The Boy Scouts of America, all these clubs, they knew it, but it's like a well-kept secret. It's like, oh my gosh, we get to make our own rules. It's like having your own treehouse club, only boys, no girls allowed, your club, the way you want to run it. So it's about structuring your business in such a way that gives you the ability to run it the way that you want to do it. And the Constitution backs you on that. And there's so much case law that also backs you on that, okay? So as long as the only caveat is you cannot be doing anything that is of a substantial evil. For an example, you can have a bakery out of your home, right? You don't have to have the health department involved. You don't have to get any licensing. You don't have to get any permits, okay? All you do is you create your paperwork. You have a contract. So you are not in the public realm. It takes your business from the public realm. So the public, right? The public, that's what all this regulation is about. You are constantly giving up your rights. Every time, even when you got, actually, I'm probably going to upset some people here, is when you get married, the products of that marriage, your license to get married actually belongs to the state. So that's why CPS and all that think they have the right to kind of go in and take your kids and do all this stuff. Well, we gave them that permission to do that. It's like, okay, so no more, right? Stop giving people permission to do this. Take your business. If it's not appropriate for everybody, because some places, some businesses, you need certain things in the public realm. So you take your business from the public realm to the private realm, and you do business with members of your association, not with the public, with members of your association in the private realm, not the public realm, Does that make sense? Okay. So PMA, Private Membership Association, it's kind of like, to give you an example, in Texas, they had the drinking clubs. And, you know, in certain counties, they have dry counties where you're not allowed to sell alcohol. However, how is it that you can go into some of these places and have alcohol served, and you can do that lawfully in these dry counties? Well, they are private drinking clubs. Same thing, it's a PMA. They have, if you become a member, but people think of it as like, oh, you're an elite, so you pay like $10,000 a year to become a member of this. Well, you get to decide how much you charge your members. It could be $10, $20, it could be monthly, it could be yearly, you could waive it, you could make it for a one-time event, you could make it, you know, and you can advertise in the public realm, but everything you do is in the private realm, okay? So it takes the power away from the government and gives it back to you, and it's completely lawful. Here's the thing, though. They don't tell you about that, and the lawyers that are trained are not constitutionally trained lawyers. So you're not going to be able to find a lawyer to draw this paperwork up for you unless they're a constitutional lawyer, and still they may not necessarily know what it is. Accountants may not know what it is unless you call it, say, hey, I am an unincorporated association. Okay, so people are starting to do this all over, and I've been working with, we call them PHAs, Private Health Association, where we do it with people who took their kids out of school and want to teach their kids or teach other kids, and they call it a Private Education Association. And then there's also the faith-based organization, which is the nonprofits that are normally 501c3s, which is a government-regulated association with all the rules. And instead, we teach people how to create a 508c1a, okay, which is basically just a tax code and means it is like an unincorporated church, a faith-based organization. And we teach people how to do that, even if a baker could have could fall under that realm, if it is their divine calling to provide that service. So back on the bakery thing, when you have a membership, when you have contracts with people, you tell them, they sign something that says that they're not going to sue you, and you have a dispute counsel or something in your paperwork that says, okay, if you have a problem, if you come in, you slip on my floor or something like that, you're not going to sue me. But we're going to do what human beings do. We're going to take care of each other. We're not going to run to a lawyer, and we're going to say, you know, well, what do we need to do here? As my neighbor, as part of the community, what is the right thing? What is the conscious thing to do? What is the humane thing to do? We're going to take care of each other. Now, if you start to put X-Lax into your chocolate cake, then that is a substantial evil. That is totally not cool, and the government should kind of get involved in that one and shut you down, because that's not right, you know. But it takes a lot to prove intent. But we have to educate. This is part of it. We have to educate. The county comes to you and say, hey, you're doing business without a license. Well, you have to educate them and say, actually, I'm a private membership association, and, you know, George, let me show you, you know, and by the way, how's your wife and kids, right? So you're connecting with people. You're not coming from a place of entitlement or anger or whatever. You're just acting human to human. So when I was training as a nurse, and I trained many other nurses, one thing we taught people was that it's not the doctors that screwed up the most that got sued the most. It was the ones that had the really bad bedside manner. If they had a good relationship with patients and their families, if they knew how to communicate, even if they screwed up a lot, they were much less likely to be sued, you know. And that's what it's about. It's like, hey, we're humans. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. Let's see how we can work together to fix it. So I think that's the essence, you know, of the Private Membership Association. It's taking it back from this government-based, fear-based system and allows you to do business the way that you want to do business. And you don't have all the regulatory fees. You don't have the fear that comes with it. And anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And there are so many different ways to structure it. You don't have to file your paperwork anywhere. You know, in my book, I tell you how if you already have a particular business, there's a way to do it. You know, you have to post something. You know, you can post something for 30 days and then shut down for a day and reopen under a PMA, just to kind of let people know, you know, so you don't, you know, you're not trying to trick anybody or anything like that. It's like you're up and up, you're doing the right thing. Are there any questions so far?
So the people that you do business with, do they all have to be members of the PMA, or can they be outside the PMA?
Yeah, if you're doing business with them, yeah. Yeah, so say you have a store, right? And you could have a sign there, we are a private membership association, ask us about membership, you know, and it's a matter of,
Cut trees down. And so I say to people, I know how to cut trees down.
Yep.
I'll cut one down beside your house. So I cut the tree down beside your house, except it falls on the house, because I don't know what I'm doing.
right.
How do you resolve those kind of issues?
Right. So it may not be for everybody. You have to ask yourself. One of the reasons this came about is because businesses were closing because they couldn't, you know, they thought they couldn't open unless they required people to have a mask, or they were forced to close, you know, the lockdown of 2020, right? Well, PMA, everybody could stay open. That's not a problem. So that was the reason for kind of creating, and this big wave of PMAs coming through is that so we can stay open no matter what. The government's not going to tell us what to do, how to do it, when to open, when to close. So in your case, you have to say, okay, what would be the benefit to my clients for me having a PMA? Is it worth it? You know, someone who is an air conditioner repair person, for instance, has to buy Freon. Well, they have to have a particular license, you know, to do that. To give you another example, I'm actually working with a medical doctor right now who has given medical exemptions to over 2,000 Argentinians so that they can just live life without having to take part of a medical experiment that they don't want to take part in. And he's doing that in the United States. He's licensed in Texas, but he wants to do it all over the United States. And he had 6 lawyers tell him, oh gosh, we don't know what this is. We don't know what a PMA is. You probably shouldn't do this. And this was Children's Health Defense Fund lawyers who are patriots, right? Until someone told them about me. And so, you know, he calls me and he read it like the book like that. It's a quick read. It's 42 pages, lots of cool pictures, you know. And he wrote up his thing right away, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this guy's good, you know. I mean, he's licensed in Texas. I said, okay, you're licensed in the best state in the country for this. And they said, you know, this could be a problem. I said, I don't see why. You know, but he didn't have that energy, but the lawyers did because they don't know. They said, we've never heard of this before. I said, well, you have to use the language that they know. And again, they're not trained with the Constitution. So they're taught and they are beholden to the Bar Association for the states that do that. And that's what they know. Yes?
How does this work with taxes? Can you charge off your expenses and report the income on your tax form?
One of the, if you do file taxes, one of the reasons people do this is to get away from having to file taxes. And taxes are illegal anyway. I'm not sure if you know that, right? They're kind of double getting you there. So we just did these things, right? Because that's what we were supposed to do. That's what we were told to do. And we never really questioned any of this. Well, I think we're all kind of questioning right now. So I ask you, everything that you do, everything that you believe, this is the time to really question it. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it humane? Is this the right thing to do? Everything. Because they've been lying. They've been lying a lot to us. So when you find an accountant, because the tax laws are always changing, unincorporated association, not an incorporated, unincorporated association is the language you would use with an accountant. However, you're not going to have employees, you will have contractors. And then they will have a 1099, and that's up to them if they want to file, and it's up to you what you report. I'm not promoting anything here. I'm just saying, you know.
The IRS is organized mafia.
Who said that? What? Oh my gosh, I didn't even see you there. I'm just like, yes, it's true. Yes, yes, it's true.
That's called organized crime.
Right, exactly. Right. Hey, I'm Italian. I got an Uncle Tony. Let's not talk about organized crime, all right? You know? So I also know that PMAs, I think, are a stepping stone. I don't think we're going to need them forever. I think that the whole regulatory system is going to fall away, and we're going to start acting like a little bit, like communities again, and government is going to be more localized. Our local city council, we just had an incredible breakthrough recently. I'm so excited. We're also working on the school board. It was like we broke through that good old boy network, and it's gonna be incredible. And this November, the entire thing's gonna be switched up, so.
I have a question.
Okay.
If you have a private members of your PMA, and each time they come to shop at your store, do business with you, and once they're repeat customers or whatever your business is with them, and you already have that contract with them, does it need to be renewed annually?
It depends on what you write in your bylaws,
Okay.
or articles of association or constitution or whatever you want to call it. The contract is the important thing too. You'll say how much the dues are, how often they pay, and you'll set up your own system, your club, your party. How do you want it to look? But you do get clear, because you don't even have to actually have articles of association. The contract is what you really need. However, the articles of association, or bylaws if you want to call it, or both, articles are like the outer workings, the bylaws are the inner workings, or some people call it a constitution. It gives more legitimacy to your organization, and it also helps keep people accountable too. How do we operate? What do we do if there's a problem? What if we all break up and get mad at each other? How are things handled? And, so you know what to expect. It's just put some structure to it.
I have a request. Anyone who isn't coming up to use the mic, if you would be willing to restate their question
Yes,
back
thank
into
you.
the mic. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, you in the back, sir. Costco is a membership association, but they're an incorporated membership association.
Okay.
So they still have their regulations, but yeah, it's kind of like, they're onto something in a different way, but let's not talk about Costco, please.
Okay. Thank you.
We're going to talk about mom and pop shops, okay? We're going to talk about keeping it local and keeping it, Yeah, with their membership thing, they are, because then didn't they stay open through the whole thing? So clearly, they had something going on. They had friends in high places or something.
There was a PMA discussion in one of our previous meetings.
Yes.
By a gentleman out of California.
Mike Colum.
Yeah, and I don't know if he talked about it or I read it somewhere, but a lot of the people who have a lot of money do because they have PMAs.
Yes, exactly. So it's traditionally been known as like an elitist thing. It's one of those well-kept secrets. They don't want us like worker bee minions to know about this, because then heck, we've got more power, and then we're not going to be afraid. It's kind of like the homeless issue, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. It's all right to say it pisses off, right? Good, okay. Because, I like that thing, is we the people are pissed, or something. I like that one. But anyway, the homeless issue, I've heard a couple politicians say they need people kept on the street, because it keeps us in fear so that we keep working and that we're not... we don't want to lose our job. So we have to follow the rules. We have to follow authority. We have to, that's one of the issues in our town. It's like they're following the housing first model. By the way, housing first models do not work, okay? And harm reduction techniques do not work. And they're not kind, and they're enabling to people, and it's not kind to let people
What is
stay
the
on the
housing
street.
first model?
So the housing first model is the assumption that people are homeless because there's not enough housing, and the goal is to build large apartment type, low-income housing, very cheap housing. And then once you do that, everybody will stable, and all of a sudden your paranoid schizophrenics and your meth heads are going to be totally fine because now they have a house, and it doesn't work that way. And then they said, then we're going to kind of bring in the wraparound services, Exactly. So, yes, and and officially they mandated in the early 2000s this housing first model. And, they did it in Portland. They did it in Seattle. They did it in LA. And you know how well that's working, right? So, and of course, you know what harm reduction technique is. I know, I'm getting little plugs here because this is awful.
Go for it.
So Harm reduction techniques are basically giving a needle exchange is a harm reduction technique. Giving a safe place for people to shoot up is a harm reduction technique. We don't want them getting HIV, so we're going to keep giving them clean needles. However, I just looked at a picture of one of our public park bathrooms surrounded by needles, and we're putting the people who have to clean it up at risk, having clean up these needles. And those needles, I said, you know what? They're not going to throw them away if you don't give them new ones. They'll just keep using them. It's going to be a lot cleaner, but we're working on that, and I think we're making headway. It's not kind to do that.
Oh, so people with medical licenses, how does this work for them? And do they have to give up their medical license to make this work, or do they end up being vulnerable to what the state licensing is?
Excellent question, because it's coming up like a lot. So there's, again, you can structure it whatever way that you want. And in an ideal world, you don't have the licenses, because with the license, we have what's going on right now is like medical prisons, right? These hospitals. And doctors are afraid of losing their license, afraid of losing their jobs, because they're having to follow this protocol and they can't speak the truth. So the license is keeping them trapped. So in an ideal world, they wouldn't have that regulation. However, doctors and naturopathic doctors and medical doctors still appreciate the ability to order blood tests, to write a prescription, which they wouldn't be able to do if they did not have their license. So a couple of the situations that I'm working with is, one, there's a group of professionals that have licenses, but they've created like an umbrella faith-based organization, and they are maintaining their licenses for as long as they possibly can, for as long as it works. So they're trying to stay under the radar a little bit so that they don't draw attention to themselves. And it works really well when you have someone who's in alternative medicine and they've got like a new device that's not FDA approved or something like that, because then they can do whatever they want, and as long as it doesn't create a substantial evil, as long as there's not an intent to harm someone or something, you can write up your contract such that it says, hey, this is not an FDA approved thing, we're a private, organization, and if you have any issues or problems, you will communicate to us, those issues. So most people I see are creating the PMAs and maintaining licenses for as long as they possibly can. However, I just want to say that some of those, they have to differentiate it. When they've got a client, so it's like they say to the patient, okay, I'm acting now in the capacity of the private membership association person. This is what I'm doing in this capacity here. I don't know if that makes sense. So you have to differentiate it. One doctor even, there was a story of a doctor who actually created 2 doors in his practice. So if you're coming in to see the MD, the licensed MD, you come through this door, right? If you're coming to see me as this, other person here who has a private health association, then you come through this door. So, wasn't that for insurance purposes too, so that they could totally, exactly. I want my insurance bill. Right, which is a really sucky system, because it beholds them to, again, the insurance and who the covers. I mean, I was a home health nurse, and it was like we were trained on, okay, what codes to use. We all know that happened with COVID here, right? It's like, which ones get us the most money, and we're going to call it this. And by calling it that, then we get to inflate all these numbers and stuff. So the essence of what I want to get across is we get to create what we want with it if we can step outside of fear. So what I love most about talking to people is helping them step outside of that fear and to embody that freedom and recognize the freedom that is already there for them. And to every time they have, well, what about this, what about that? I say, okay, where's that coming from? What are you afraid of? What's going to happen there? So you had another one.
And we want to see health practitioners, whether mainstream or holistic, that we trust, because when you end up in a hospital and they disagree with your, here we're back to parental rights, they
Right.
disagree with your medical choices, then we're into medical kidnapping. And
Right.
you walked into their building so they can not let you leave with your own child.
Exactly. And that's why what I'm noticing is you're saying they're putting these clinics next door to all these schools, or in the schools, the school-based health centers, federally qualified health centers. That's tons of money coming from who else probably but George Soros, you know, right? And so that they can indoctrinate the kids even further, saying, oh, they're going to have CTE and they get to go and learn next to us, but yeah, okay, we're going to also make sure they get the 84 immunizations, and we're going to hand out condoms, and we're going to refer them for an abortion or transport them, whatever you believe about that. They're taking the power away from the family unit and separating them and indoctrinating them, and that's not right. That's not okay.
One of the things that just to do an addendum on what you're saying is with the PMAs, if you're not licensed and you're not able to diagnose somebody according to the ICD coding system, which is run by the World Health Organization, it's no longer done internally by our American Medical Association or the American Psychiatric Association. And so under your license, like I gave up my license in 2015 because I was not allowed to counsel somebody to remain the same sex orientation if they wanted to. The only way I could counsel them legally in Oregon and keep my license and use diagnostic criteria to get paid by insurance, which needs a license. And in 2015, the World Health Organization took over the coding system for the American Psychiatric Association Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. And we quit using the DSM and started using the ICD-10, or 9 and then 10, which is the international system, which is controlled by the World Health Organization.
Right.
So you got to see the chain of events that's happened here. When you now have the schools, which are operating under the ICD-10, which is internationally governed by World Health Organization, that your kids are being diagnosed under that system, and the only way a doctor can get paid is by being part of that system.
Exactly.
And if they control our money, then how do we pay the doctor? We pay the doctor in chickens.
Yeah, they don't want us well anyway. The system is not set up. You know, the diabetic diet keeps you a diabetic. The heart diet keeps you with heart disease. You know, if you're a dentist and you speak out against mercury, you could lose your license. You know, I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. I mean, you recognize, you know, I knew that as a doctor of natural hygiene, you know, I had this whole course about what you can't say, right? You can't diagnose. You can't use those words. You can't use this language, you know. You can only use this language, and boy, this is stupid. You know, sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, did you bring books with you today to sell?
They're all digital online. I thought
okay.
about it, but I'm lazy. You know, I got so much. Sorry, I'm not. It's not that I'm lazy. You know, it's. I thought, well, people do ask. It's so funny. I first put the book on Amazon, right, and people said, we don't want it on Amazon. And I said, okay, all right. So I put it on my website, and it's got PayPal. We don't want to use PayPal. And I'm like, okay, hang on. You know, and then right, and then I, you know, and then so I've got this other Stripe or something like that on there, and they said, well, we don't actually have, I have a friend who doesn't have internet. They live on a farm. I said, well, you know, okay, I could print it out for them, because they said, you know, but it's going to be a little bit more, you know, and I said, well, you know, okay, they can come to my house and they can come get it, you know. So I guess I'm trying to accommodate everybody and learning, and now I don't even, some horrible mean person troll came onto the Amazon site and left a bad review. So, and I went back and I said, you know, I could have felt like really bad, and I've done all this personal growth work. I mean, these opportunities suck, you know, all this, I'm sorry, it's just like, you know, and I said, well, let me see who this person is. So sure enough, he left these 1-star reviews for so many people on so many different subjects. I said, okay, this is a pattern here. But still, it's like, you know, so if you get the book and you like it, yeah, please just go to Amazon, put a 5-star review, but buy it from my website, because Amazon takes all the money anyway, you know. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was a building contractor for years.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to build according to the building code.
Yes.
So I was a building contractor
Yep.
for years. We build according to building codes.
Yeah.
And of course, in order to keep your contractor's license, you have to have so many hours of continuing education. There's a whole bunch of hoops you have to jump
Right,
through.
exactly. Money.
Yeah, now personally, I know how to build. I don't need
Yep.
anybody to tell me that,
Right,
okay?
right.
So what I like to do is just build for people.
Yep.
You know, me and them.
Yep.
What do you want built? Let's
Yep.
work on this together.
Yep.
No inspections, no permits, no nothing.
Yep.
Can you do that kind
Yep.
of thing? How do you get out from the people that show up and say, there's no pink card on this site, you have to discontinue building immediately because the law will come if you don't.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you. You know, this is between this person and this. This is between, you know, this person and me. We have a contract together to do this, and yeah.
Why can't I do that?
Why can't you? Why can't you? You know, some people say, well, we want to make sure this person is, you know, that you have your contractor's license because they're not, you know, how do I know they know what they're doing? Well, okay, we're going to the good old days. How many, you know, when you did the barn raisings, how did you know your neighbors actually knew how to push that thing up and do this, right? I mean, we're getting to know each other. You know, everything that they're doing, like in Cottage Grove, they're trying to outsource all these things. They spent tens of thousands of dollars in 3 years to like study the homeless problem. And meanwhile, you know, they're giving them a safe, they contract and let them be on city property, give them a place to shoot up, give them new needles, and they're using butane lighters inside their tents and won't let the fire marshal do anything about it. I'm just like, people, you know, what is wrong with this picture? You know, but they've lost the common sense because of the indoctrination, and they need to step outside of that. So yes, you can do that. Do you have a good relationship with the county people? Just, I'm going to give a little plug for Flags for Freedom. A bunch of guys said, we really want to be involved. We want to do something patriotic. We don't know what to do. So they started putting flags on all the overpasses, right? And they maintain them. Some people, you know, are burning them. Some people are cutting them off. Some people are even peeing on them. You know, not cool. What was my point with this? I got distracted with that. But this was, you know, people said, oh, it's illegal. It's, you know, well, it's not, we found out, okay? And the ODOT, you know, Oregon Department of Transportation people, have actually been, they were threatened by, okay, what's her name? The one that's supposed to be in Salem, but she's not, and, you know, she who should not be named, Kate Brown. Yes, right? Right? She told the ODOT people, you take them down or you're fired, because they didn't want to take them down because people are loving them. We've got like 2 hours worth of on the 5, because the 5 corridor is very dark. I don't know if you know, but Oregon, especially in the 5, it's just some very dark energy going on here with all this really heavy stuff. So people have really appreciated every time these guys go up and do a flag wave or they put their flags up. I mean, they get people stopping them and telling them how much they appreciate it. And do you know what the ODOT people, and they said, we didn't want to do this, but you know what they did? They took those flags and they folded them up with such reverence in the triangular shape, you know, and they call our guys and they say, come get your flags. And so now they have a system, right? So they come get the flags and they grommet them, and then they put wires on there to make it harder for people to take them down. And then they put them back up. And then they take them down, and they call them and say, come get them. You know, so we're looking for more people. They said, we don't know what you're doing, but we're finding, you know, all up and down the 5, you know, other people are doing this too. So they're giving them all the flags. And that flag stands for something, right? It stands for freedom. And I don't care how much or what they're going to do to it, they're going to still put them back up. They're going to keep putting them back up. And, you know, one of our guys was very upset because he sent me pictures, and you could see someone took a torch, you know, to them and showed me the burned, charred things and showed me where the knife mark along the edge. And he's like, I'm in this guy. Okay, so Cottage Grove, if you don't know, it's kind of a mining town. These guys are like cowboy hats, cowboy boots, Carhartt jackets, and they're packing, right? So he's in tears. He goes into the local gun shop because he feels like really secure in the gun shop and safe and feels good when he goes into a gun shop. This is so foreign to me, just saying, okay? You know, but he goes in and the guy's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? He tells him the story, and you know what the guy does? He opens the cash register and he hands him a $100 bill and he says, go get some more. You know? And I'm just like, this is what it's about.
As long as they don't outlaw the flag.
You know how many, right, but you know how many police officers have stopped and thanked him too? And they said, it's not illegal, keep doing it, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the ODOT people too, thank you for doing this. You know, and truckers, and everybody's waving and everybody's honking. We need this. So any of you guys want to hang flags or something like that, feel free. There's like 4 overpasses and I saw nothing up there and I just felt like something's wrong here, you know.
I might be grasping at straws a little bit because I'm right here.
Oh, jeez, this is weird.
Sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
I got a lower voice. I didn't try to
No, it's good, but
intimidate you,
it sounds good. It's good. We're
Todd's question.
Yep.
I would think in that situation you would probably, you know, you were saying if you have a PMA, then you're signing a contract with the person that you're doing business with. I would think you'd need a constitutional lawyer in that situation that was familiar with PMAs and then also the contract you signed with that person to do the job that he's talking about doing. And then if the city officials come in and say, the heck are you doing? This is against city code, you'd say, this is none of your business. I have a
Right.
PMA
This is
contract
between
with this
us here.
person.
Yep. And if you,
Right.
and if you step on my property, I'm calling the police for trespassing.
Okay.
You don't have to let them on your property, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
yeah,
could
if
even
you have
create a
private
common, you could
property.
create a trust for your property too, okay? Like a common law trust. And so, you know, in that regard, again, it's like knowing what your rights are. You don't have to let them on your property, but it's also good to have good relationships with people. You know, I mean, that's really important. That's what we're trying to get back to. Even though we want to say things like libtards and those lefties and this and that and all this stuff, it's like, these are just misguided people, you know, so, you know.
They are.
And I mean, I don't like any of the labels because, you know, it's, hey, I was a social justice warrior. I was an animal rights activist, and I've been vegan over 30 years. You know, I mean, I just, oh, 5 minutes. Okay, all right, thanks.
5 minutes, but
Good,
real
good.
quick.
Yep.
How does this extend into the arena of real estate and owning property and owning land and property tax and all those things?
So if you have a 508c1a, you are tax exempt from property tax. You call the county and say, so if you're a private individual, you get a trust. You know, it helps so that you are not, you know, you don't have issues. I'm not an expert on that. Every time accountant and taxes comes up, it says talk to an accountant, tell them you're an unincorporated association, and if you're just, you know, if you're not the 508c1a, you may still have to pay some taxes, but the idea is that you're going to be away from all that regulatory system and most of those taxes, so it's not going to be an issue.
More questions? Okay. Thank you, Johanna. Oh, one more here.
And I understand what you're saying about that was about the faith-based. Was that what you were just saying?
Yeah, faith-based.
But if
Some
you
they call
were-
unincorporated church, or, you know, so.
Okay. But if you were doing your taxes just like if you were a contractor type
Mhm.
thing, and so you're going to take it to the accountant and you're going to say it's an unincorporated.
Unincorporated association. So when you say doing your taxes,
Well, sorry, I probably. You're right. We're indoctrinated.
think about it. I mean, just think about it. You know, it's like, okay, income tax, you know, who are you reporting it to? I mean, who's paying you? Who's it between? It's a contract between you and someone else. You know,
I guess I get the 1099 stuck in my head. Like,
Yeah,
you're a
that's-
contractor, so now you're self-employed. So now you need to report your earnings because you're self-employed with
And
the
that's up-
1099.
and
So
that's
I
up
know
to
you're
you.
kind of thinking the same
and
thing.
that's up to you to report it.
Yeah.
If you, that's what you choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I started paying taxes when I was 15 years old. I started working full-time when I was 13. I'm a family of one of 10 kids. And this was like if I wanted like my own clothes, you know, to buy, you know, if I didn't want hand-me-downs. I only had one sister, 8 brothers, so it's a little weird, you know. But, you know, I had to work for them, anything that I wanted. And I saw my mom working. So I started really young, and the idea was, you know, you have to work and pay taxes and get a credit card so you have good credit, you know, and this was like the thing. You want to establish credit, and, you know, it's all part of that system. So ask yourself and look a little bit deeper into it, you know. There's this whole big thing about, am I a citizen? I know it's part of your name here, but, you know, citizen is becoming like a dirty word, you know, they're like, no, I'm a national, or I'm a man, or I'm a woman. I'm not a citizen, you know, because that puts you into some other realm, which I don't know a lot about, you know, because I haven't done the deep dive on that one, you know, yet. But you get to decide what that looks like. You have the power. The more you read this, I invite everyone to read the Constitution. If you haven't already done it, just spend some time on that Bill of Rights also and realize, you know, what the purpose of government was, right? And you know, our rights are not, you know, limited to what they're saying in the Bill of Rights. They say it's not limited to this. We have a lot of rights. You know, and just keep asking questions. Wait a minute, you know, is this, you know, And they don't know too. Educate them. Hey, I hear you. This is so weird, isn't it? But like, pfft, we're totally, changing the way we do things, isn't it? What a crazy last couple of years. I get it. I had heard from somebody that OSHA was 2 years backed up, and if everybody in the beginning, all those businesses decided to be non-compliant, we wouldn't have closed down. We wouldn't have closed down.
Right.
So,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll just set this down, I guess. So, I think this concludes our meeting. However, I've been getting some messages. Michaela Hammerson, Steve's wife, has been mentioning to let people know about a meeting with Tim Freeman April 30th at 3 p.m. That meeting is going to be about what? Is it just content that he wanted to straighten out with some people, or is it something else? Where's that meeting going to be?
It's gonna be at his office.
Oh, at his office. Okay, all right. So that's great. I will not be in town on the 30th that day. That's next Saturday at 3 p.m. Is that right? And then it's funny. I took a picture. I said, "Hey, Michaela, your husband's here." I took a picture, and then someone else took a picture of you too and sent it back the other way. Everybody's like, it's like 8 pictures of you now in this. Yeah. I'm a scary man. She was saying all good things. She was saying all. Is there anything else we needed to end with? Okay. Here's what I need to tell you. As I'm the pastor of this church, I do have to go. I have to leave here. I'm going to leave the key with someone, probably you, Sylvia, or whoever's going to be, someone who's going to be a representative with the candidate canvassing meeting. I'll give you my phone number and the key. I'm going to shut all these lights off as if, the meeting, if you could have it over there where the lights will be on, that would be better. So I could shut everything down here and make it really easy for someone to just lock the door and then call me. And then I could try to get the key. Yeah.
I have your key in my car.
Oh, wonderful. Then if you wouldn't mind and you'll be here. Yeah. Okay, then I don't have to come back.